Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's live stream. As we get into some technical analysis for the SPY Qs, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, Nvidia, AMD, and Meta going forward, we're looking at AMC and GME as well. Remember, we just added Palantir to the weekly ranges, and we do have those daily ranges up for you as well today for the SPY. Notice we are seeing a little bit of an upward move, talking about the possibility of a double bottom down here. Rejection divergence is there. This can start to turn up 2-hour charts for 2-hour swing trades. Now, the thing about this 2-hour swing trade, as we go into a little bit of a breakdown here, make sure to like as you do come in as well, but we do see the 2-hour able to curl up, but I want you to notice it is negative. So if we do get that to extend, even if it goes all the way to that weekly expected move, hey, that could still fall right back down into negative territory. We'll pay attention to that, see if there is weakness, if we're going to see an upward move. And then obviously we'll always pay attention if that is going to roll over, manage our risk. You can get those daily ranges. We'll look at those a lot today, and the weekly ranges. We do have, those up on Patreon if you want those on your chart every single Sunday. I had a wedding this weekend with one of my best friends, and so I was a little tired, so I couldn't really sit down and make a video. I was really busy all day Saturday, and then I was just worn out on Sunday. But we're getting back into it. I'm ready for a big week. We do have some weekly expected moves here: 480.38 to the upside, 445.56. Notice that the weekly moves have shifted down, right? These have shifted down again. And so we're seeing if this 2-hour can curl up for some kind of 2-hour swing trade, but we'll see if it's able to run into some roadblocks around this area. Okay, so we'll pay attention to that. I've got a few trade setups going on here, right? We've had a few. We've had something with Meta. We've had something with, actually, if you're thinking of something that might not be even too late to get into, or you're looking for maybe a stock to pay attention to for some signals, I think Nvidia has some decent signals. We do have the 2-hour divergence in here that is saying like, hey, we can head up over time here. So we'll pay attention to that. Just remember, those weekly expected moves are in play. So we do have a weekly expected move around this area. If we wanted to head higher, well, we'd need to build that structure, right? We need to build that structure in order to head higher for Nvidia. I just wanted to mention that one right off the bat, because it looks like something that has lagged behind a tiny bit, and it looks like it is one that is confirming soon, right? It could confirm soon. We look at a 30-minute chart, a bunch of rejection divergences here. So that is something to pay attention to. That 15-minute rolls up this morning. That would probably be a big deal. It can send you into positive territory. What happens in positive territory? Well, positive things, right? Positive things, positive things. So we'll pay attention to that going forward. Apple, this one is more so going to look like, is that 30-minute going to cross down today? That would be interesting going forward. I'd really pay attention to that. You have some trying to build it up, right? We're getting almost a continuation triangle in here. If that does cross down, that means, hey, Tesla low, go make a new one. So watch out for bottom side ranges. Tesla, this one here, trying to roll over, rejection divergence right here for the double bottom. I would say triple bottom at this point, and see if that can break through that high, really get positive here, really start to get some gas and turn up this 2-hour chart. I think that would be a good move for Tesla to get back in this zone, and then we have to see what happens from here. Amazon, this one's starting to curl up with the 2-hour divergence. It already completed, so this one here was already saying, hey, I want to get some kind of move to the upside, and I could go positive with that, so we'll pay attention to it going forward. And AMD, this is one that's not looking as good, right? It's not looking as good because you don't really have divergences. You have a flat one on the MACD, nothing on the RSI, still pretty deep down here. But if everything gets that reaction, you would expect something like a 156.90, and then you start to curl down, create some kind of structure in here to actually head higher. So we'll watch that, as well as earnings. A lot of earnings down the tape, so we got to pay attention to that. Meta, massive divergence, like really significant here. This is the type of divergence that can really turn up a daily chart again. So if we are going to turn up a daily chart, okay, how high is that going to take us? Are we just going to come up into the breakdown area, right in this area towards 495? That would be something to pay attention to. I really think that if we did get that steam, we want to see if that curls back down into negative, but note that if it does curl up and go positive, that can mean we're in another extended positive move, so we'll pay attention to that. I did notice that the dollar is going higher as of right now and crossing up on the daily scale, so even with these bounces, I would be cautious. Now that we're seeing a difference in the dollar not breaking down while the SPY actually tries to head a little bit higher, That's something to really pay attention to during retail hour. That is a big move from the dollar crossing up on the MACD. We'll see if it holds. For now, that's pretty big. And for volatility, we notice that volatility is trying to bounce again. So I wanted to go into a short time frame here, maybe a 30-minute, and just show, hey, it's up by that center line. You have that divergence down there. So this can turn up a 2-hour chart. You have divergence all across this right in here. Right, we see the downward price action going flat. Great tapering. We see the initial tiny divergence, not on the MACD and RSI at the same time. Now you have that rejection divergence at the same time as this going above the center line. So we could see volatility go up, the dollar go up, and the stock market go up, which would mean maybe some kind of rigged move is forming right in front of us. So I'm kind of leaning towards a trap with this behavior from the dollar. I initially was not thinking of that last night going into this today. I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking, hey, we have potential for reversal. But if that dollar really starts to scale up, while volatility scales up and the market goes higher, well, then one thing is wrong. And if two things are saying the same thing and one thing is saying the other, I'm going to go with the two. But we'll watch it throughout the day. Just a quick note, as far as how long the stream's going to go for today, it has to be pretty much, I have to get off it in about 2 hours. I have to go deliver my suit back from the wedding. And then today's pretty much going to be the chill day. And then going on throughout the rest of the week, we will be most likely doing a lot of closing streams. So make sure to turn those notifications on. Make sure you are subscribed and like the video so more people can come out and see what we are doing here, really trying to simplify things. So thank you so much for being here this morning. I hope you have your coffee ready, and I'm ready to go. How are we doing this morning? Reading the chat finally. What do you think about AMD? Well, AMD, it just doesn't have the best reversal signals, right? You still have the divergences on, say, like an hourly or something like that. You have it on the MACD. You have it slightly on the RSI. It's just not holding true across a lot of time frames, and it's not very close to going positive. And if you really want to say this is tapering, I mean, it is, right? Your initial fall, you're going straight down. You're literally going down in this path, then you taper off, right? So now you're thinking, does this need to do that one more time, or is this just going to see a big move? So we'll pay attention to it, but for the most part, earnings is really going to mess with this one. Wow, Robert, going up from 40 cents to 140. The Meta and Amazon trade looked good. Yeah, Meta and Amazon were the two that I was just like, or it was Meta, Amazon, and Nvidia. All three of those had some decent looks to it. Amazon, I see that that's starting to really complete here, really catch its wings in order to head higher. So we'll pay attention to it. But make sure that if you are, taking some plays, you need to have something that convinces you to exit, right? Selling is one of the hardest things in trading. It really is, because when you're making money, you feel good and you're like, it could go higher, it could go higher. Well, that's where the weekly expected moves can really help you out with that mentality, because if this just boomed up to a weekly expected move, say it went up to 189 or wherever that is, you might say, okay, now it's time for me to take it off the table. 30-minute curls down, then it curls up by Friday, and you just go, okay, now I can see another big move. So we got to watch out for earnings. We could see some crazy things with earnings. If we're going to head higher by the end of the year, you'd expect earnings to be good. If we're going to, I would just say, correct more potentially, right, then we might see that actually curl down. So I think what we could see here, as this isn't coming out till Friday, Apple's not coming out till Friday, Tesla's already done it, Nvidia's not coming out, AMD's not coming out till Wednesday. We could see a couple days worth of 2-hour crazy positivity while the dollar heads up at the same time, and then that is just dumped with some earnings. So we'll pay attention to it, but for the most part, you just have to see the dollar, right? You have to see how this was really didn't know which way to go, and then you kind of just consolidate for a while, and then you break to the upside, you're above the 200, you're crossing on the MACD. The last time we broke the 200 and crossed on the MACD was right here. And guess what? The dollar, yeah, we saw some moves down, but ended up going higher over time. So really pay attention to this right here. I'm going to also draw myself another little trend line. I'm just going to take the wick probably right there. Right there. Sorry about that. We're just going to make a little trend line here. I'm going to delete the old ones. But this is where we could see a reaction. So what you're looking for here most likely is some kind of move up, crosses down, turns back up. Binge watch some more course this week, and I think I found Divergence on TTWO. But let me know what you see. What time frame short Fridays? And thank you so much for the $5 this morning. Really appreciate it. Yeah, we do have potential to head higher, right? We have potential to make new all-time highs, but this is the opposite of that signal. So we've seen times where the dollar goes up for like weeks and then the market finally sells off. So we can see another one of those times. But for the most part, I would just say, hey, I'm paying attention to this. This makes me really want to take profit if I'm going in any kind of long move. Let me see what that is. TTWO. Oh. And just let me know what time frame you're looking at short Fridays. I'm sure I'll be able to find it. One thing I would say about this right now, a little bit flaggy, okay, first off. Second off, the 2 hour. So what you're going to see here is this is still holding that flagging almost. Okay, so what we want to see is this actually turn up into positive territory. So what you really want to make sure when you're looking for that divergence, just really want to make sure, hey, that is a downward angle. You want it to be obvious. And I tell people to look for ones that are obvious, and it might take some patience to look for the obvious ones, but we found that one in Palantir, it went down 2%. For a day, like or a day or two, it went down by 2%, and then it curled back into positive territory, but that's still a beneficial trade. You caught the 2% move down, and then you were managing your risk, right? So if you're managing your risk, still should have made money in that play. I know I made a little bit, but you want to really watch this base. So you want it to be very clear. Is this very clear? Well, you have a low, you have a higher low. Well, on the MACD, I have a low, I have a higher low. Oh, crud. And then I go like this across and I go, okay, is this a low and a lower low or a dead even low on the closings? No, it's not. So this is still a higher low. So you have a low, a higher low, and another higher low if that's able to turn up. So it's not necessarily divergence. It's just something trying to go positive, but you have to be aware that this is kind of going like this, right? You could draw some trends in here. You could draw this as a flag most likely at this point and just say, hey, if that does pop up, as this one was weaker, you could be consolidating in this area too, right? You could just be consolidating. I'm not going to take that big wick. I'm just going to go like this and just say, if we really look at it, we're like, okay, we're in a triangle. Is it going to be a continuation or are we going to break out? Well, if you cross on this 2 hour, then it's like, hey, I'm going to break out. But if that turns back down, then it's like, okay, I'm going to break down. And then that could easily turn back up. This is when you're getting into the pipeline, right? You're getting down into it, and a lot of the times you do have to consolidate for a while. So you have big move, medium, medium. Now you go small, now you go small. Then you see what happens with earnings. Yeah, let's go look at AMC and GME this morning. I'm sorry that breakdown was a little bit of jumping around going on, but the 2 hour has crossed up for AMC, looking for that dollar or that daily, if that daily is going to, cross up into positive territory. So that's what I'm really paying attention to right now for AMC. And then on the other side of that coin, I need to see if this 30-minute can actually pull back, as that is, kind of flattening out. We'll see from here. GameStop, this one here curled down on the 30 minutes. So actually the most likely thing for GameStop is to head lower as of right now, unless that can flip back around, take back that 24.56. Yeah, I don't think so, John. I don't think they're going anywhere. I just don't think that at all. We keep talking about how excited we are to go to a movie, so I just don't see it. People still do want to get out of their house. They want to get rid of theaters, probably to keep you in your house even more. As far as it goes with Nvidia, the main signals here, you got a bunch of rejections down here at these lows, but the main signal here is just the 2 hour, seeing if that 2 hour can cross up. If you want to get a little closer, you could say the hourly has crossed up, and this could be a positive move. Look for some micros in there, right? 15-minute, you see this tiny little signal here. Well, that is some sort of divergence going on the MACD, not necessarily on the RSI at the same time. But this can be enough. If that can go positive, you can really just watch a 15 minutes, see if that crosses up. It's crossing up this morning, and then see if that's able to go to a weekly expected move or something like that on the 2 hour. But the 15-minute crossing up here is a bullish sign. I'm just saying be overly cautious. You have the dollar that is screaming higher. Now you're seeing some divergence in those moves on the shortest time frames. We'll pay attention to it. Volatility turning up, the Dow turning up. IWM turning up. I got to change those lines. But as of this morning, you would say, okay, if Nvidia is the good trade, then the 2 hours should be curling up. And look, the 2 hours not necessarily up there yet. So a little bit of patience to be had this morning. Tesla bulls are coming. I think so. If you see this 2 hour curling up. Sorry, I had a pimple. Ew, pimple. Yeah, I hope that was helpful, Julius. So Tesla, what you want to see here, 2 hour is curling up. Can we get into our zone? And where does that weekly range fall, right? You always want to refer back to that weekly range. And you'll notice if you get those weekly ranges that it is somewhere in our zone, in our sell-off zone. So am I taking upside plays? Not necessarily just yet, because this stuff is really worrying me. The PCC really high, so I think we could get some kind of squeeze, but the dollar is going up pretty dramatically here, right? Crossing up on the 4 hour, really going positive, crossing up on the daily as of right now. We have to see if that's able to hold by the end of the day. VIX is now up 4%. And the SPY starting to rotate down. So you really got to wait till some stuff confirms. Meta was one that we were paying attention to on the 2 hour. We can be patient with it, see if we need to manage the trade as that divergence looks very, very nice. You want to see if this is turning down on a 30 minute to make that stronger base, right? So if this just curls down on the 30 minute, well, then this is going to say, hey, maybe we're heading down to make that even stronger base, and then we're going to see that move up, right? Nvidia. Same thing. It's like maybe we head down to create that stronger base. Maybe we head down a little bit to create that stronger base, and then we head back up. But if this 2 hour curls up, hey, that's your signal. That's momentum telling you something. So for looking for the divergences, let's just go on a 2 hour and look at Nvidia, and we'll explain like divergences and how you need to watch that closing of the bar. So the low of the MACD is right here. So my low of the divergence is right here at 112.54. And then so it's the closing of the bar. So if you have a red bar, that's the bottom of the bar. If you have a green bar, it is the top of that bar, right? So right around here, we made the lowest move on the MACD. We crossed up right over here, but the lowest move was right here from here to down to that bar. So if that is downward, when you pull that down, just draw it out for yourself. If that is downward and this is even, and even on the RSI down there, it's up a little bit, well, then that would be considered the divergence. Oh God, Robert, they already halted it. God, that's the worst. Yeah, we can check Ford real quick. Ford's still dropping off here. Remember about the direction was chosen. If that 30 minute just drops down, you're going to continue to drop. This is why I don't just like try to buy something that just had bad news. I'm waiting to see structure. And overall, I'm not seeing anything down here that tells me like, oh, this has to reverse. I'm seeing like, oh, we tried to taper and go the other direction. It failed. And now we're breaking that low, making a new one. So if this curls over, you can still get that to escalate even further. But I don't know if this will even curl over, because that would remain oversold for a very long time. It could still happen. Like, I don't want to be buying by any means or doing anything like that because of how the price action is behaving. It's just going down while the MACD is bouncing and the RSI is trying to bounce a little bit. So that tells us like, hey, maybe we should be doing this, but we're not yet. So maybe we have to make a stronger base, right? AMC crossed on the 4 hour. AMC now only up 0.58, GME up 0.21. We have some crazy moves going across here. Looking over at Bitcoin, remember what we were talking about, the 4 hour or 2 hour, I think it was a 2 hour divergence here. Yeah, 2 hour divergence in this move. Paying attention to that very, very closely. You can see it right here. So if that was to curl down, you would have that divergence. But this is playing out pretty nicely, right? We talked about, hey, if this is going to be something that fades, you might just react like this. If it's going to be a strong one, you could react straight up, maybe curl down straight up again to get to like 80,000 or something like that, or 75,000. But at this point, you got to say, hey, just notice the divergence. It doesn't mean anything bad. This means all good things right now. But if that would curl over, that means weakness and momentum. We can shift that trend downward, right? We can change that trend into a negative one. Where would we head to? Well, if you look at this right here, where would we head to? Well, we might head down towards this area where we bounce, see some kind of right shoulder made. And then you'll have like a big left head, right shoulder up in this area. I think that would be a cool look. Yeah, we can check Lulu. Holding some time. Did it bottom yet? Well, that really fell off for a moment, right? So it really fell off. So all the signals saying like, hey, do not get into this move yet. And then now we're starting to see divergences down here at the low on the daily, but this has not crossed up. You have earnings coming around the corner sometime in September. But for the most part, you want to just say, is there a reversal signal on the 2 hour? No, there's not. So does that daily have a good shot to turn up just yet? Well, it might have some more work to do, right? We were paying attention to all these, seeing if that could hold to turn up. That would have been a good looking divergence. It fails. And so you know, hey, that's not the moment. But if this were to build up over time, maybe retest or fill a gap and then turn back down, that would be more a signal to pay attention to if that could rotate up. But right now you have no reversal signal as far as the momentum goes on Lulu. Which just tells me, like, when I see something like this and I really want to trade, and I know that's not what you want to hear. I know that's not what you want to hear, but yeah, I'm still holding the meta play as of right now. I know it's not necessarily what you want to hear. Like, you want to hear, oh, this is going up, but I'm just telling you it might take a little bit more time to base out before it can head up. And it's not even guaranteed to make that reversal signal. There's no reversal signals down here. There's none. 30-minute, you can even look at that. Like, you're gonna at least need a 30-minute divergence most likely. So you're trying to base out, you're not fully completing a cup. If this just rotates down, you might see negativity and then immediately be like, oh, everyone's bearish again, and then boom, that turns around, you see a big 2 hour bounce, and then you want to look at that 2 hour bounce, make sure everything's good with that one, right? We're trading like water out there. Palantir is one that we've been paying attention to on the 30-minute. You see that climbing to the center line. We'll see what happens with that. Starting to get starting to make that strong move. 2 hours starting to rotate up here. So if this does complete, then Palantir does have a good shot for a good move this week. Now, the only thing I would say about Palantir is we have those weekly expected moves. They are somewhere up in these areas. So I would get over to Patreon if you want to get those on your chart if you're in some kind of Palantir play to the upside. They're just very helpful. It'll be something that might even convince you to take profit because you know, hey, that's what the options market has priced in, and I'm going as high or higher than that, so maybe I should take profit on this trade. It's a very good thing to like convince you to take profit more often. I am someone who really likes to take profit. And then at the same time, we have the Dow starting to drop down. We have IWM starting to drop down. We have a lot of stuff starting to drop down. So let's go look over at that meta play. Remember, the 2 hour did cross up. So what I'm looking for here is the 30-minute crossing down at any time? That will tell me to manage my trade. And if that turns down, awesome, that's fine. I need to be like, hey, this is really bad. It's going negative. That's really bad. And if that does turn around, then I'm ready to react in case there's an upward move, right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. August 1st. It comes out on Thursday. Alrighty. See if we make like a 30-minute divergence here. That would be nice. 2 hour about to cross on Nvidia. So Nvidia up now 2.5%. Remember, this is the one we mentioned right away in the morning, just like, hey, this is kind of one that's lagging behind a little bit. It could see a pretty strong move up to something, maybe even like 124. It could go up to probably 122, 124. The weekly ranges are pretty good for entries. Exactly, and you're just looking for other signals with that to get that entry. Thoughts on the Qs? The Qs for me, I think we're going to see a big reaction. I genuinely think this is going to happen where we see a big move up like this. And now this is just what I think, right? You have to make sure your signals are confirming this, but we see a big move up like this. Everyone thinks it's all dandy. And then this actually drops down again, convincing people like, oh, it's going to crash again. And then it just turns up for a bigger move over time. We actually head higher into the end of the year. I think that would really fake people out. That would really fake people out. Now, it's not guaranteed to happen like that. Obviously, it can happen in a million ways. This could just come up to here, curl down, curl up, right? This could curl up to here, curl down, continue the negative trend, and just keep going down. So what I want to see is the reason I think that this would be likely is just because this is a lot of the time how bear markets behave when you're going to see a 30-minute or like a 2-hour pop and then a daily pop. All right, so right now I'm talking about, hey, that 2-hour could bounce, see if that curls back down. Okay, because that daily, I'm pretty sure, is pretty far away from crossing. So I'm going to say that daily is not going to fully be able to cross. And then that 2-hour is going to pop up. We're going to see the 2-hour get close to that center line, curl back down, create that divergence for us, and then we'll have that 2-hour divergence there to help us out and really give us the go-ahead, like, hey, this thing is going to bounce on the daily scale, and that's where we see an overall bigger bounce. So I'm pretty much saying, like, we could do this, this, or even this, and then start to base out. So we'll be paying attention, but for the most part, we just got to see, hey, 2 hours rolling up, is it going to roll back down? Is earnings going to really flip things on its head? The way we'll know that maybe earnings is affecting it is if the daily crosses up. If the daily crosses up, that's just a swing trade, right? So if the daily's actually able to cross up, let's say, 3 days, 2 days worth of buying is able to cross that up and it holds, well, then you can start to see that craziness continue, as that will just be a simple swing trade. As it's still far from crossing, though, you can see a reaction like this and then just drop back down to make that stronger base. And I think you got a good shot of doing that. That's just how I see things. Now, the dollar is turning up, so nothing is guaranteed as of right now. And someone's saying Microsoft crashing a little bit. So what you want to look for here is this one is one that I did not mention on Patreon last week in the update video for some trade setups. Remember, the 3 that I was really going over were Meta, Nvidia, and Amazon. Those were the 3 that I really saw as some good stuff. Now, the 2-hour here for Microsoft, that's trying to cross up, yes, but it's not necessarily the most positive looking bar. If that 30-minute rotates down, negativity. 2-hour actually does cross up, most likely sign is some kind of bounce. Where would we bounce to? Well, if we're going to make a solid bounce, I would say this area right here towards 445. We head up towards that area. We either base out, turn higher, or we kind of do something like this and get that higher low. I think that would be likely for Microsoft at this point. Meta, still holding strong, still looking pretty good. Nothing really crazy going on here. I just think that 30-minute looks like, hey, I need to watch if that crosses over. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff for Meta right now. I think Amazon already curled up too. Yeah. How high can that one get? Yeah, Amazon could make a move towards like 200. PCC, we need that to come out this morning. 30-minute is crossing up here. Hourly is about to cross up. We could see downward moves first. Looks like if this, so we have to be willing to go either way. So if I need to manage my trade on Meta, well, volatility might give me a hint here. All the moving averages, notice this, we're above this 200 here on the hourly. Notice all the moving averages are piled up. So if we do get a strong move from volatility, cross on the MACD, cross the center line on the RSI, and take back all the moving averages at the same time. It's a very bullish thing for volatility, which means it might mean some bad things for the SPY. Okay, now the thing about the SPY compared to the stocks that we're looking at, such as Amazon, Meta, Nvidia, these things do have no 30-minute real like solid divergence. Now you do have a rejection divergence, that's great, but is it the really smooth looking nice divergence in order to actually make that upward move? Not necessarily, but still, as we do go positive, the most likely scenario here is positivity. As we go into a 2-hour, we'll see that, hey, most likely we're experiencing some kind of bounce. So I think all of these things are something to pay attention to. UVXY only down 0.66, so nothing crazy going on there. AMD starting to curl up on the 2-hour MACD. Very, very good look there. Nvidia crossing up. It's got probably about 6-ish points left. And AMC and GME still trying to bounce for GME. Google, not the best sign going forward. Microsoft wicking out. And the SPY, there you go. Netflix is one that has a bunch of divergence across it. SMCI does not have that divergence. So you see how it's kind of flaggy still. So if it needs to make that stronger base, hey, this thing can curl down. Mara trying to get that big bounce up. Just remember this too, Mara follows Bitcoin a lot of the time. And look at Bitcoin, right when we mention it early on in the video just to show you guys there is a 2-hour divergence on Bitcoin. Likes to roll over 4 hours. 4 hour holding a flat divergence as well. Flat divergence as well. So if that completes, yeah, you got to see if that's just a pullback that turns back up. But as of right now, you want to see, hey, does that curl over the daily chart? Right, the daily chart, if that curls down, it might not be the best sign in the world. You really can. You're in an area where you're like, hey, I'm high enough that this could be a higher low, but I'm also close enough to that center line that I could go into a negative trend or make a divergence. So there's a lot of options for Bitcoin in this area, and that's why we want to be aware of them and just react. What else are you guys looking at over there? With the big boy fund and Netflix for the donation fiasco, I have bought a large 590 puts for October earnings. I think they messed up. Big thoughts. I'm not going to say you messed up by any means with any decision. You probably had your reasons to make it. I would just say it seems like a lot of the headlines, they're using the Netflix name to almost convince you like, hey, Netflix is better than AMC. And so that kind of worries me a little bit because that tells me like they could just manipulate Netflix stock higher and kind of take what you're saying. Pretty much, are a bunch of people shorting it now for that exact reason? If so, the algorithm can rip against you, right? We just know they don't do things based on supply and demand. So the fact that you put a lot of puts in there, well, if it's retail that put a lot of puts in there, then it starts to become a little bit of a different story. Let's see. Let's see what's going on with Netflix for this week. We actually do not have too big of a put call ratio, only a 0.99. So that would mean your put wall really at 600 and 640. Your call wall is sitting around 650, 680, and 700. So you have a little bit of disparity between all those. Some good looks though. Let me look at this. Who had the most implied volatility this week? Meta does. Okay, so Meta has the most implied volatility. Is the least implied volatility. 0.36. So Google has the least implied volatility. Interesting. Amazon. I'll get to about 200. Curled up is the daily curling up. trying to. I wonder if it will make that stronger base. You see, just really watching these 30 minutes. 2 hours confirmed, you know what I mean? 2 hour has confirmed, but that doesn't mean you can't do a 30-minute dip for a second and not cross over this MACD. But the 30-minute is what you'd really want to see if that's curling down, as we are seeing volatility try to scale up, as we are seeing the dollar grow higher and higher. It's really starting to worry me right now. Oof, and Dow Jones starting to look like it wants to give it up a little bit. So weirdly enough, the dollar heading higher while the market's heading higher, that is a sign that there is some kind of insider selling. So be cautious with any upward moves today. Is it going to crawl or leave? Unusual has added a new feature that shows how stocks move on average during earnings week. Anyone holding puts on Nvidia take a beating. Yeah, you're going to take a little bit of a beating. As far as AMD goes, you don't have the best reversal signals, Scott, just so you're aware. It's not like the other ones. It's kind of seeing that reaction because the other ones are, which happens a lot. But you notice it's very, very far down on this MACD. It's very far down. So I still think it would be likely for that to happen. Ooh, and AMC seeing some good positivity there. See if that's able to curl up on the daily soon. If Tesla breaks 35, 236. So if we're really paying attention this week, then the potential for 235, 236 to be actual resistance is pretty high for something like Tesla. So you have this zone up here, right, that we really broke down from. And you notice that we used it as support here. We used this zone as support here. There's a gap here. We gapped within it. Okay, awesome. That's where we stopped. And then also we gapped all the way below it and we're about to react up to it. And then this week, what you notice is, hey, I have a weekly expected move somewhere in here and we're already heading in that direction. We're only a few off from it. So if that's going to hold true to anything, if that's just going to be a 2 hour pop and then start to drop, that would make sense with that weekly expected move. Now, I think usually it is more complicated than that. Usually the 30-minute goes relatively positive and you see some reversal signals, right? So we'll pay attention. This might not be the best thing to look at as far as a trade setup goes with how I do things. But as of right now, you could say, hey, 30-minute divergence at the low, awesome. Now it's heading up. Great stuff, right? About a 9-point move from that curl up on the MACD. About a 9-point move so far. So hopefully some people were able to benefit from this. But at the same time, Tesla was a worrisome one, right? It was really, really flaggy, really sideways, which means that trend can really continue. So I could understand how people missed out on that too. I didn't take Tesla because of the look of it, right? It wasn't very obvious. I took Meta because it looked a little bit more obvious. I just can't believe the dollar is seeing that. That's kind of crazy. Curling up on the daily. I did. Got 20% on this. Hey, there you go. Meta call. With the 2 hour divergence that's going on here, you can turn up daily charts. So I'm just paying attention to this. I'm still managing the trade because these are, right, big move, maybe a medium move, small move, boom. So I'm seeing if this can get pretty tight in here. Wonder if this lines up. It could be like this, by the way. I'm going to draw it like that, so I'm not like trying to convince myself of anything. Meta calls, meta calls. but volatility is really freaking me out this morning. This hourly just turns up for a little bit and boom, we have another downward move. And then everyone's convinced, oh, the market really is crashing down, right? Remember, it's complicated. A lot of these what I would say could be traps, which might be a trap to the upside right now with how the dollar is performing. But a lot of the time you'll see like something like this, where everyone is convinced that it's really going to go down, and then we see some kind of bounce back. Something like an earnings can really help with that. So I'm going to pay close attention to the volatility this week. A 2-hour like triple divergence would be nice, right? A 2-hour triple divergence where we do drop down for a little while, and then we see, hey, that based out down in this area. We have maybe a divergence on, say, futures or something like that, right? Because those trade a little bit more. Maybe we see that 2-hour divergence on the futures. Maybe we see a 4-hour. Right, because the 4-hour is really up there. This is where futures can come in handy. I got to change around the weekly moves for that. You'll see these things don't really have divergence down here. They're just kind of drifting higher. So if this is going to curl down, that would make sense. So now something to do would more so be like, okay, if I look through my 30-minute charts, I see Apple or I see Tesla, or I see Amazon. I'm like, which one has a very, very good MACD? Very clear what's going on here. Weirdly enough, if Meta turned down, that one would be pretty clear. Google, not so much. Netflix, not so much. Actually has a bunch of little divergences. No way, a little bit. But AMC, could this thing start to drift down, right? GME, same thing. Could that thing start to drift down, as it is negative in negative territory? And then I have weekly expected moves for those as well. Let's look if the hourly is less wavy. There you go. See, the hourly divergence is there. It's just not on the RSI at the same time. That's why I was really treating this like a bounce. Doesn't mean we can't flash down to 2360 or something like that and then see that move back up. We'll see. Being nice and patient this morning, right? I feel like there was a big pullback with the crash, but it still looks really good. Do you think the same? Let's go check out PayPal. We'll go look at it, because the real trade for PayPal that looked really, really freaking good already happened, right? It already happened right here. This is fantastic. So now I have to say, since I saw this and it led to something good, maybe I want to see the same thing over here and have it lead to something good. Now, that being said, if that is not going to form, right, we're not going to see some kind of pop up like we did over here, some kind of pop up and drop again and then curl back up. If we're not going to see that pop and then drop again, okay, we'll pay attention, because the daily scale here for this is showing a massive, massive divergence, okay? So PayPal actually showing a pretty big divergence here, and you do have earnings tomorrow morning, so we'll pay attention to it. For the most part, looks like earnings have been relatively good, right? But you do have that daily divergence that is there, and that can really see some positivity. So it just depends if the stock wants to go higher. Okay, am I seeing reversal signals? Well, I'm seeing one little 2-hour pulling up into positive territory, possibly in a little bit. So if that would happen, hey, that would mean most of the direction for this one could be to the upside. And we'll see if there's a big move, right? That's all we can do. So if you wanted to like maybe pay attention to the sentiment of it, okay, let's go look at its max pain for a second. Let's see what's up with that. Well, there's a load of calls in it for the price of about 64. So if we're able to hit something like 64, that would be something to really pay attention to, I think. But I don't even really see like 30-minute. You have a little divergence down here. That's fantastic. Awesome. You're starting to go positive. So it would make sense to see a pretty good move here. I think you go as high as maybe like $69 if it's to the upside, and I think you can go as low as something like $53 if it's to the downside. Actually, maybe even deeper than that, but I would say about $53 or $69. I don't have a range for this, so. Keep PayPal on my list of things to watch. 4-hour divergence. So now you're like, okay, I have big divergences down here. This is weakness and stuff like that. So interesting though. This thing's been going down and down and down for a very long time. This thing never came back, did it? Well, you have daily divergence, it's just not confirmed. So if I want to see that confirm, I at least need something like a 4-hour to cross or something like that. But we shall see, my friends. We shall see. AMD just trying to curl up here. Not looking the best. Looking for those 30-minute signals that say, hey, maybe we're heading lower. We'll find out. How we can really keep an eye on this is volatility, seeing if that can rotate down again on the 30-minute. I think that would be very, very telling. Yeah, it seems undervalued. Like PayPal is pretty huge. Which ones do? I'd have to look at the, performers as of right now. Actually, let's do this. Let's do this. Let me take a look at a few on my screen here. I'm just looking at the stocks that like move the most with it or have a big stake in it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna show you one. I know nothing about this one, but it's one of the biggest holdings in it, and I just want you to see this on a 2-hour and see how that's grown, like just completely consolidating here, trying to cross up into positive territory. So this is one where you can pay attention to the signals. It's seen a great upward move, and then it comes down, and then you see that curl up again. We can see another great upward move. Now you do have divergence behind all this, but you've seen your pullback. So if you are able to confirm above all these, that would probably be a pretty good look there. Let me look at a couple other ones here. What about this one? Sprout's not looking too good right now. Yeah, a lot of the small caps are actually looking like, a lot of these other small caps are looking like, hey, we might actually pull down. Not the best earnings either, but I don't know necessarily what would be like the best to look at if that's going to happen. I'd more so just pay attention to IWM signals and then start looking around at some stocks like this one and see, hey, yeah, this saw a strong move. I want to be in that the next time. So if that's able to curl up on this, curl up above the center line here, hey, positive move can be there. Make a little range for yourself, get up to that point, take some profit, be done. It's like, yeah, that's just how we do things. But I don't pay attention too much to a lot of small cap stocks. I've just always liked to trade the bigger cap stocks, but it's not to say I can't pay attention to them. If you're talking small caps though, we'll look at these ones, but these are even looking like AMC and GME are really looking like, hey, we're supposed to be curling down, right? It looks like this is curling down, but you can see that reaction up. Maybe that's why volatility is going to turn up. Who knows? Maybe that's why the dollar is dramatically going up, right? But we'll have to see what happens with PayPal. We're starting to see that drop off. So the SPY, seeing that upward move. Okay, cool. Are we curling up the 2 hour? Yes, we are. We got some positive bars above the 9 now. So hour and a half left in the bar. We'll see volatility starting to continue to break down. But IWM stocks, I mean, I wouldn't be too confident. I'm seeing a lot, like the ones that I'm looking at over here actually have like 30-minute reversal signals, most of them. Tesla bulls pump more. Yeah, I think like 234 is where I'm really starting to pay attention, right? 234. But this is a prolonged move. So here's the thing, you're just now crossing on the 2 hour. So if you want to burst through that 234 level, you get outside of this, retest, you can keep going. I don't think you can't keep going. What you really want to just watch here is maybe like an hourly, seeing if that can remain negative and roll back down. But as of right now, not necessarily seeing that. I mean, we're not necessarily seeing some kind of crazy reversal down from this big move right now. In fact, we're actually seeing things that look like they may want to go positive. Serve has a big daily momentum move. Okay, I don't like the look at this right away. That's a massive divergence. It saw a massive daily move right here, all the way leading up into now, but it's already seen that move. So something I would quickly just look at real quick is a 2 hour and see, oh yeah, that MACD is going up and up and up. That's fantastic. That is great. But if that were to turn down, I'd be careful for a bigger pullback here, just because look how steep that is on the RSI. Look how steep that divergence is on the RSI. That's very downward, meaning the momentum here is getting worn out. Are we seeing reversal signals up here? Well, we might get that 30-minute signal while at the same time already having it, right? So this already completed, right? Completed, said, hey, downside could be there, manage that risk, kind of doing a little cup, maybe get a handle, head a little bit higher, we'll see. But if this 30-minute can create that another point of divergence there, that's actually going to be a look that says momentum's dying out and serve might head down. But the daily momentum on serve, I even want to check if that's like overbought. Oh, I typed the whole thing. Because that's some massive moves. Yeah, you're really, really overbought. So this tells me most likely there will be some kind of pullback. Good move, great move, crossed above, strong bar right here, 265, great move. Like that's all I would say, right? But I'm late to it, so I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh yeah, let me chase this. That's just kind of like, that'd be silly of me. Who else has earnings tomorrow? Oh, whoops, I'm looking at daily charts. I want to look at 2 hours. See how good these ones look. Where's Nvidia? Starting to fade a little bit. Where's the Metas? Meta, I'm really worried this might fade. Like, if you look at this one too, it's almost giving entries to start to reverse back down. We'll see. Maybe when that hourly actually crosses over, that's going to actually pull down. We'll have to see. I wonder how expensive stuff is. A little bit. Alrighty. I know, we need to find one that looks decent like right now. You would say maybe like an Nvidia or something like that could be forming, right? I would say Nvidia looks like a pretty good one. Meta, I already took this. I'm looking for the management of the trade. And then Amazon, I think, also has a chance to see some positivity here. But as things curl up and up and up, it's kind of scary. I'm just telling you right now. It's like, you know, you're looking for a trade setup, and I'm telling you, well, the dollar's also, you know, crossing up on a daily MACD right now. So the dollar is heading higher while the SPY is heading higher. That is something I pay attention to a lot. Yeah, most of the time that is a confirmation of upward momentum. You have to know how to manage the trade, but for the SPY bouncing because of the MACD curling up, that is what happens every single time. Okay, so if I go into a 2 hour, you just got to look for the times where it's going to fake you out. Okay, so you're seeing, hey, we're going to bounce here, right? We're going to bounce here. We actually said we were probably going to see some kind of, oh, we see a bounce. All right, cool. 2 hour curls up, but then immediately curls back down. So that means more negativity. Now that's curled up again, but what if it immediately turns back down? So whenever that MACD crosses up, it's saying, hey, we're most likely to bounce here. And then if that fades, ooh, okay, now we're turning down. So it's more like in this, I want to say, okay, we bounced, but is that going to hold? Well, how can I see if that holds? Well, if that's going to keep going up, then the 30 minutes not going to cross down and go negative. We crossed down and went negative. So that's how you manage your stuff. Right now, you're at that same point, right? We're trying to go positive. We're trying to go positive, and uh-oh, what if we just go negative? What if we cross down like this, make another point of divergence, very, very smooth? That's what I'm really kind of waiting for a bigger play. Waiting for it to be a little more obvious. Meta, I might just get out of Meta. Something doesn't feel right with this one. Yeah, I think I'm out of Meta until that shows me a better base. Not liking the look. I just have gut feeling. But, you know, make your own decision. This is me. Actually, I'll wait till that 30-minute really crosses. I can break even on this and be fine. So I'll wait and see if that's able to cross as I'm taking the 2 hour trade, seeing if I need to manage that trade. Just the dollar going up dramatically is kind of making me cautious. We're starting to see that put to call ratio go down. That means those calls are in. And some calls came in early this morning, 0.81. Sweet, I'm learning. Yeah, it's just a, so your MACD is the lagging indicator, so it's going to be the last thing to turn up. So it's good to know multiple reasons to take a trade to give yourself confidence, and then learn how to manage your trade. Because then you can start to like take things when there's, you know, 3 reasons and you're waiting for the other 2, right? I can break even because I made money on this move already so far. I've made money on this move so far. So I took mine down in this area, so now it's heading up towards here. So I'm already in the money, like I'm making money off this trade. I have a positive number. If that were to curl down, then I can react, but most likely by the time that curls down, I will be breaking even. And I'm just saying that as an estimate. Like, I don't know for sure, but I've done it a lot to the point where it's like, yeah, a lot of the time when I do react, it is a break-even type of thing. Yeah, the MACD is just a little bit lagging behind. So you'll notice a lot of the time, most of the time you can see it pretty clearly on like a daily scale. You'll see moments in time where the MACD over here, like the RSI is already across that center line, and the MACD takes just another moment. Or, I don't know, we can go back to other times too, probably, but let's see. Yeah, you see how here the RSI was above the center line the whole time, and you're above them the price action, so those are 2 indications right there, but it took you a few days to actually cross up right here, and then you see the upward move. So it's just like you need multiple skills, you need reasons to take the trade. Is it a weekly, before this daily crosses up, do I have 2 hour divergence, right? That's something you can look at. Yes, I do. That can convince me, hey, let me get in early on this trade, right? And do it based on a 2 hour chart. And then if I see that daily turn up, I can just treat it like a daily swing trade. You see how like my 2 methods can form into just a swing trade if I want them to, because that daily turns up, oh, it's by the center line, okay, swing trade. But maybe I'm going to use my other skills to find a great price in case that does happen. But I know in order to see that happen, this has to go positive, right? This right here has to go positive. Give me that positive trend to curl up that daily. So if I want this to continue going this way, I do not want this to happen. So I'm going to manage the trade very closely. If that 30-minute does cross down, I will be out of the play. And I'm already thinking of I don't know. I just have an inkling that we're going to at least see some kind of, move like this first. Based on how the dollar is reacting, based on how volatility looks like it wants to turn up on the hourly scale. We're seeing that want to cross up. So it's got me a little bit worried. It's got me a little bit worried right now. Because that SPY can head all the way down towards like 536. I just don't want to risk them too much. There's just too many earnings this week, Way too many earnings. Speaking of earnings, this guy, glad you guys brought it up because this is a cool look. It's a very, very cool look. That's such a good divergence. It just hasn't confirmed. You can see it if we really blow this up. Look how significant that is. You don't even have to blow it up on the MACD. That is just so significant if that can cross up. And then on the RSI, you're like, okay, yeah, that's significant as well. So you're just waiting for the signals to really confirm here. You have earnings coming out tomorrow morning. Must be looking at Divergences wrong on TradingView because the way I read them on the 32-hour and daily there showed upward reversal coming. Let's just take it. We didn't look at that too much. And I might have looked at the wrong stock. Yeah, so the 30-minute here, there is no divergence. The way you know there's not going to be any divergence, by the way, here's how you know. Well, because this is a low, this is a higher low, this is a higher low. So the immediate thing you need if you're going to see a divergence that gives you some kind of positivity, a reversal to the upside, is you're going to need to see a low, a lower low, right? Because the price action has to be going down. So just the fact that the price action is going up, I'm not even thinking about divergence here. So in this area, I don't see divergence. Now you did have divergence in this overall move. You can see it right in front of you. Do you see it? See, this is more what you're looking for. Look at this. Isn't that downward? See how that's down? And this is all up, and you see that cross, and what happens? Positivity. Right? Do you have that right here? No. You just have, look at this line. Do these pretty much match? They're pretty similar, right? So then you know it's not divergence. I have to tighten up, sorry. No, you're fine. I just want you to really understand, in order to see those divergences, you most of the time, well, not most of the time, unless it's hidden divergence or something like that, which you don't have here, the price action has to be coming down. The price action is going up, so I know right away, I'm not really looking for divergence in here, right? I'm more so in the shortest time frame looking for it right there. Do I have it right here? No, I don't. I have a tiny little higher low. I do not have that downward price action. Then we could blow it up to a 2-hour and we'd say, oh, well, the good part about this, I will say this, just simplify it a lot real quick. Okay, simplify it a lot. If that 2-hour crosses up, wouldn't that be a great thing? Man, that'd be a great thing. You have the RSI getting above the center line. You have the price action getting above the 9 and the 20, trying to get above the 50 right now. The lagging indicator is just lagging behind. But this is an indication that you could see that positive move. That wants to turn up right now. But is it divergence? No, because the price action is up, the MACD is up, right? You need the price action down while the MACD is up. Give me one sec. And we're back. I hope that made sense. Tesla, Tesla looked a little bit worrisome, honestly. So this is a great move for Tesla to just be able to turn around, but you're still pretty negative. You're just about to cross that center line. So weirdly enough, if Tesla is going to keep seeing positivity from this point right here, you might see something crazy this week. They don't even have earnings, so that'd be kind of nuts. Meta still trying to hold firm, not curling over on the 30-minute MACD. AMD, just no good reversal signals here. Really just a 30-minute looking like, hey, I'm getting close to the center line. You have a big divergence on like the 30-minute and the hourly for some kind of upward move. But we have to pay attention to that because there's no real reversal signals. Like if I look at a 2 hour and I'm like, is the daily going to cross? Well, I have a flatness on the MACD and that's it. And I'm really deep into negative territory, which just tells me, hey, this could be a great thing. It could bounce up and see a great move and then just completely fail with earnings. So earnings is going to be a very, very big deal. All right, guys, I am going to take, just to eat real quick, I'm going to take another 2-minute break just for a moment. I'm going to put you guys over on the SPY on a 30-minute chart, and I'll just be back in 2 minutes. I just need to focus on eating for a moment because I'm a very slow eater. I can't have the distractions, but make sure to put anything in the comments that you would like me to look at when I do come back in about 2 minutes. All right, see you in a sec. All right, guys, we're back. We are 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 back. What's going on with Wing? What the hell going on with Wing? What's going on with this guy? Well, watch for that 30 minutes to turn down. Right, watch for that 30 minutes to turn down. If you're gonna go carve out this double bottom down here with a 2 hour, this actually would be a great look. If you can turn down like this, come down into that area and then see that reaction, maybe with earnings or something, but that would build up a this 2 hour to actually cross a little bit more steady, right? Actually build up and make this a 2 hour divergence. Right now it's kind of a higher low, which is a great sign if this does cross up, but you do have earnings, 50-50 flip. You gotta be careful with it. But if that were to turn down, you'd at least have a lot of reasons to take the trade. If that was able to turn down on the 30-minute briefly, give you that steady little divergence there, just like you did over here. You did have it right there. All right, what happened while I was gone? Looks like volatility was not able to turn up. Looks like Tesla is still moving up towards 234. 234 is as high as that's supposed to get, but that is just one crossing the MACD. You could see something crazy from Tesla. Interesting. GameStop now down 1% today. Palantir trying to curl up, kind of failing. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Let's look at these. That has not curled up yet. This has. When's that earnings, by the way? Wednesday after hours. So we'll see what happens with Meta. What about IWM? Well, IWM, I gotta fix the ranges, but for the most part, you would just say, hey, look at this. Doesn't that look like a divergence? Maybe I should be cautious with that. Actually, IWM showing some weakness in there. No, it's not the weekly expected move, just so you're aware. I can update the IWM weekly expected moves real quick for you. Way up there. Way down there. Okay, so if we are able to break down, we would break down somewhere around that 215 level. But yeah, you just see that's a pretty steep, like almost double top there. We'll see. Right, we have to see if that actually crosses. If that crosses, though, you have a good likelihood to head towards 215. That's a 2 hour. Actually, not a 30-minute, just so we're aware. AMD fading. So now we kind of want to look at 30 minutes, like we're kind of managing trades. Are these going to reverse back down, right? Is this going to be able to reverse back down? Amazon looking like, hey, maybe I need to make a little bit stronger base. Nvidia like, maybe I need to make a little bit stronger base. What about Meta? Meta's kind of saying, oh, I'm still going up for now. Meta's like, I'm still going. I'm going to try. But you can kind of see that pattern there showing that kind of controlled move like this. You see it kind of controlled. So if that does break, hey, you can head lower. See what happens with the earnings. How do you find weekly expected moves? You can type it on the internet right now and say calculate weekly expected moves using, or calculate expected moves using implied volatility and options data. And it would probably pull up the equation for you. It does take a little bit of stuff, like a little bit of knowing when to do it and like where to get your data from and things like that. But you could easily, I think you're smart enough. You guys could all figure it out. I never hide that. You could literally search for it, but pretty much you're using the options data. So you're using the options data and the expiration of the week, so Fridays, to create some kind of, hey, this is how high they expect a stock to go or low it's expected to go based on the implied volatility and where the price of the stock is starting out. What that does, it builds a range, like a 68% zone, kind of like a normal distribution. And then you could see, hey, okay, so this is high or low as they're expecting a stock to go with a 68% confluence. You gotta look at, what is this one? And gas U24. I don't think I'm gonna look at that. I don't even know. That sounded like one of Elon Musk's children's name. And see, Apple's not necessarily seeing that big strength, so it's kind of got me a little worried. In my opinion, Netflix made the biggest mistake ever by donating to one party if you want to divide it in an investor class. Yeah, so a lot of the companies, since I was in marketing, they would always ask, should I do gay pride? Should I do this? Should I do Easter? Should I do this? Should I do that? I'm like, there's two ways to look at it. I would always tell them the same thing. There's two ways to look at it. Is it something you feel strongly about in your business? If you're a private owner, okay. If you feel strongly about it, do it. That's awesome. But then I just go, but the easiest way to make money is to just have good product and have a good business and then maybe make a little sale for those kinds of things. But other than that, it's like, you don't want to make it a big spectacle. There's always someone who will be angry at you. Why don't you just sell cheeseburgers? Why don't you just really focus on making great cheeseburgers? And if you make really, really good cheeseburgers and someone wants to celebrate Easter, they might say, hey, let's go to our favorite burger place and it'll be yours. That's how I always really talked about it with the people who I was marketing for. I say, just stay out of it is what I would do. If you feel like you have to, hey, it's your business, but I'd maybe say happy 4th of July on people's accounts. I would never be like, happy Pride Month, here's a flag and all this stuff. I'd just be like, no. And I wouldn't put a bunch of crosses and Jewish stuff or whatever, any other religion. I'd just be like, no, I'm here to sell burgers. So I'm going to talk about burgers. I'm going to show burgers, and we're going to make really good burgers. That's it. Mara dumped. I keep seeing that. Mara did dump. Let's look at Bitcoin. Showed you that. Remember, Bitcoin, we showed the 2 hour. There it is. 2 hour. If that confirms, is not going to be a good thing. So we actually could see maybe this dollar is going to mean something. Oh, dollar up 0.39 now. Okay, guys, be very, very cautious here. Like, I'm getting out of my moves. Like 100% with that. I am not. Nope. Nah. I don't care how good that looks. I mean, that's just me, guys, though. Just so you're aware, like, you know, manage your trade, do all your stuff to a T. I'm just going to make a tiny, tiny bit of money out of this and be happy managing my risk. I don't need to make $1 million today. I'm good. What up, Luke? Not sure if this one is red. I'm out for the day. Not my day. It happens. Exactly. That's, you just gotta get away from your computer. Go shrug it off. Go, you know, do something that you like to do. Eat some good food or go to the gym. Go for a run. A lot of the time, if I'm feeling a little bit, you know, annoyed or something like that, it's freaking 95, 100 degrees outside. I go for a 2-mile run in 95, 100 degree weather. Just sweat out the pain. Go sweat it out real quick, come back and be like, all right, cool, let's try again. Let's think about what we did wrong. Try again. Sweat out that pain from last week. That's one of my favorite things to do to people. That's one of my favorite things. I'm in Kansas. That's one of my favorite things to do to people, though. If I see people running, like if I, and I know this is very, very weird, but I used to do this in college. Whenever I saw a girl running on the side of the road, I'd be like, he's not worth it. You run out those tears, girl. I don't know why I always did it. And it always cracked me up. I'd say it to dudes too, actually, now that I think about it. I used to yell at the dudes. Oh yeah, Florida's real humid. Like here it gets humid, but Florida's kind of next level sometimes. I go to Florida a lot. I got really close family friends in Destin. We go there pretty often. Tesla daily, the histogram's looking a little bit better. Well, it's gonna look better, right? It's gonna look better. That, oh God, you guys, we're heading right for a rejection area. I'm pretty worried about this. It's just going right up to it. No, I don't mind. Let's go look at OPTT. Well, maybe that's a 2-hour divergence. Okay, you do have a 2-hour divergence down here. We'll see if that's able to play out. Maybe we want to make it a little stretched here. Yeah. So I'd be following this hourly very closely, looking more so just for the crossing up. That would be a good sign. That's all I would really say about this one. It's just you have an hourly divergence. It's pretty damn steep, right? You see it on the MACD. Let me spread that out so I can actually see it. Yeah, it's like barely on the MACD, but it is there and it is on the RSI. So if that's able to turn around now, hey, good things can come. You can reverse that trend. But as of right now, this very moment, this means only bad things can happen. That's what this means. Because I'm curling down into negative territory. I'm not even oversold. So all of this means horrible, right? I want you to think horrible. That crossed over, horrible. Why would I take calls? That's horrible. And then if that did happen to turn up though, I'd be like, okay, that's not looking horrible anymore. That actually looks pretty good, right? I want to have my thinking in line, but also think in the future. If that were to turn up, hey, that would look good. But right now, what does it look like? Horrible. Horrible. You're in Tampa? Yeah, my family friends, his brother actually lives in Tampa now. They just bought a house in Tampa. I heard the Tampa housing market has been kind of nuts. Like some homes going for sale or something like that pretty dramatically for a sec. Are we bullish on the Qs? Well, technically, with the signals we are seeing from, say, Amazon, hourly divergence, Nvidia, hourly divergence. We have Meta, hourly divergence. Technically, with all these divergences, the Qs can head higher, right? The only problem I am having at this moment, Burkay, is the dollar. Look at the dollar just screaming higher right now. That means a lot of people are running to cash today. So that's a little bit worrisome in my opinion. Actually, it really worries me for something like Tesla. Now, all the signals here look pretty good. I don't necessarily want to go against them, but I'm just saying we're heading up towards a weekly expected move very early. That weekly expected move happens to be exactly what we talked about last week. We could see a reaction this week towards the resistance area. This is all going to be a resistance area now. So am I bullish on it? The signals look like I should be, but there's one signal right here that just keeps going. And I'm worried that that's going to mean some kind of rug pull is coming or something. I don't know, because we haven't seen something like this in a while. Look at that daily bar. That thing is crazy. The last time we saw that daily bar was what? June 7th. And June 7th, look, we actually went higher for a little bit. We still went higher while the dollar went higher. So this can continue for a while. We'll have to see. Overall, maybe we just read into what we're seeing in front of us. And right now, Meta looks like it wants to curl up on the daily. We got Microsoft. Well, no, sorry. Nvidia looks like that thing might want to curl up for some kind of pop on the daily scale. Tesla's already popping, going up towards a weekly expected move. Amazon looks like it might want to pop higher. Yeah, Honda, it's because I got out of most of my play there. I left a couple of runners with what I made. I have like one contract now with what I made, so. They might, and a lot of the time when you do see a squeeze though, it will be prolonged. People have to really be convinced. All right, so the way you know people might be convinced is by looking at the PCC. PCC is still at about 0.90, so that's right in the middle kind of. Calls came in the morning, now calls are proving to be decent as the SPY heads a little bit up. But once this starts to get heavy to the call side, I'd like to get that a little heavier to the call side. So what might happen here is they actually cause this 30-minute to go like this, then turn down, then turn up, and we see something like that. That's the signal I'm looking for a bad sign. Even though weirdly enough, that's the signal you're also looking for a good sign, right? Everyone's going to be talking about a head and shoulders if you do that, right? So I'm looking for a reversal signal up above that weekly expected move on the 30-minute. That's what I think will most likely happen. But I'm open to anything, and the reason I'm open to downside is just because look at that. That is a massive move. Someone is moving into cash very dramatically right now. Kind of makes me want to take a volatility play. GME did curl down on the 30-minute. We are with the point of divergence right now, so this actually would be considered divergence if you're able to cross up here for GameStop. Yeah, so what you'll notice in like this is bear market behavior a little bit, the signals you're seeing. So for the most part, if it's going to behave like a bear market, then yes, they will try to trap the bears right now, then they'll trap the bulls a little bit later, and then they'll trap the bears again, and then you'll see a bigger upward move is how I see it playing out. If we're gonna head higher. If we're gonna head lower, then you're probably just gonna see this like fade a little bit early, or just see that reversal signal up here. I think if this is going to reverse back down for at least a 2 hour, you see something like that. We'll find out. But Tesla is about, what, a 50 cents away from its weekly expected move. Not even 2 hours into trading. Yeah, we can look at Palantir. Palantir here, curling up 30-minute. If that crosses down, look how close it is going negative, so you can continue the negative trend. But as of right now, the 2 hour trying to curl up. So right now you're seeing a lot of 2 hour swing trade signals from this area. Now you'll notice the last time we were this deep was pretty much down in this area. What did we have to do? Well, we saw this actually curl up over time. We made a higher low, right? We kind of went sideways and then curled back down and then made a slightly higher low that then took you positive. So the reason I'm mentioning that is just because you're very negative. Okay, so even if this kept bouncing and turned down again, you'd really want to see that reversal signal, get close to positive territory, all that good stuff. They are selling gold. That's an 18% drop. Unless they're not allowing it to hit the tape, I don't see a selling in gold. I could see a selling of Bitcoin to cash, depending on if they're trading in platforms. The Bitcoin could be coming down a little bit with that 2 hour divergence. Where the hell is my Bitcoin? There it is. 2 hour divergence up here. So we'll see if that's able to prove itself. But that could be happening. It could just be a flight to cash. We're not necessarily seeing a flight to TLT or anything like that at this moment. But actually, weirdly enough, I think you just got a little bit more inverted too. Solana, is that, I don't know what the ticker for that is. Coinbase. Yeah, so you see the same thing on Solana. You see a 2 hour divergence. So this is really saying, hey, if that confirms, we're going to probably see a 4 hour curl down. If we see the 4 hour curl down, well, it has divergence as well with that high. So you could see the daily roll down. So we could be seeing a daily pullback in crypto across the board very soon. But this, I mean, like, it doesn't mean it's all over, right? We're going to a point where it makes sense to see like, oh, okay, full cup, maybe a nice handle here, and then we curl back up, right? Maybe this just curls down and curls back up for the swing trade. That's all I'm saying. I'm not like saying everything's going to be over. It's just the dollar's going up dramatically right now. So I'm a little bit hesitant. I mean, like with these signals, as far as the buy goes, you can look at the hourly and see that turning up. It's not necessarily saying like the 2 hours, not necessarily saying like, oh, this is all dead and over. It's just there's no reversal signal within this, right? The 30-minute by the center line. If that crosses down, there's no reason for the stock to head up anymore. Oh, okay, Mark. It's weekly is strong. Yeah, I'm saying, but like a weekly, like if the weekly's strong, you can still see like a 5-day pullback in a weekly chart. Or like a 3-day pullback, a bounce, and then a 3-day pullback again. So that like completes the little corrective move. That's just my opinion. I mean, I'm seeing a 2 hour divergence. I got to call it out. That can curl over 4 hours. The 4 hour has divergence as well. If that remains positive, great. Swing trading, awesome. Tesla high hit 234.27. Ooh, about 50 cents off from the expected move there for Tesla. Dollar bills, y'all. My goodness. GME, you got to turn back up, buddy. Mara now down 2%, about to cross on the MACD just now, crossed on the RSI, crossed with the price action below all the moving averages. All the probabilities are saying drop. But is that just going to create a quick little divergence? That's what I'm kind of paying attention to here. I'm looking for the fake outs. And one that has earnings tomorrow that I'm actually kind of liking the look of is PayPal on the daily. Seeing if this one wants to curl down on a 30-minute, but for now, the daily scale, you can see that divergence there. So if it's going to get a move with earnings, it could be a good one. Maybe a reaction up to $60, maybe even a reaction. I think we saw $60. If you get past that, about 69, like you can head all the way back up to here with just that earnings. The last earnings received a 10% drop. So you could see like a 10% pop here. You could see a 10% drop here. It's earnings, it's 50-50. But I do like the look of it. The downward look, just a little bit down, but also giving you the wicks to really test that level. Boom, down, boom, up, boom, up. Like, I really like that look. And I'm thinking about taking just like a small, like a couple contract play or something like that. Just to try to make a quick buck and not risk a lot of money with like an earnings play, but I don't like to play earnings, so I'm kind of hesitant. All I have here is divergence that's not confirmed, so I don't necessarily want to like jump into something. Oh my goodness. AMD starting to give it up. Nvidia starting to give it up. Let's look at these 30 minutes. If those start to cross over, guys, downside is the most likely option. Dollar heading higher would have made sense. Might just mean we need to form some better bases here. Amazon, see if that curls down. Meta, see if that curls down. I'm gonna be out of this. I'm not doing it. Not with that dollar how it is. I'll just get completely out. Take my 10% and run. Yeah, we can check coin. Coin most of the time just follows Bitcoin. So if we're going to see some weakness in Bitcoin, we're most likely going to see weakness in coin. And so if Bitcoin were to complete the 2-hour divergence, I would assume that Coinbase is going to complete this 30-minute turnover, right? 30-minute turns down, but you can see that this tried to taper off down here. So what I would like to see is like see this connection between these lows and see if we're able to touch that little line up, go like this, and then curl back up. That would be a fantastic look. That would be such a good look. And then I would say, oh, okay, Coinbase might head higher. Share your trading view, chart setting link. I've never done that. I'm not even gonna lie. I have never done that. I don't even know exactly how to do that. How do I do that? Someone's got to teach me. I'll figure it out. I'm pretty good at figuring stuff out. Also, I like to figure stuff out, so don't teach me. I'll teach myself. It's fun. Tesla now running up towards that weekly expected move, and we're seeing the first sign of weakness, but this is overall still bullish. You have it going positive there on the 30-minute. The 2-hour is very negative here, though, so we might see some chop for a second, see a direction chosen. Palantir, ooh, Palantir, that is not a good look. The 30-minute here, really starting to get worried about Palantir on the 30-minute. See what Palantir did, though. You see the obvious breakdown areas right there. You can see it. Based on this wick, based on this little thing here, you can kind of see that level 1, 2, 3, 4, you got through it, consolidate right above it, little move higher. So what I would say is a retest of this area was very likely. Where did we retest? Well, we're retesting that area now and starting to reject. So if that was to curl over, the correct move here, according to momentum, would be, hey, the stock is going to head down if this crosses over. Right now you're getting it to close, well, it's, yeah, 5 minutes from closing below all the moving averages, and the RSI is getting across that center line. So they're dropping the dollar now. Okay, start to drop. We'll see if this drops as the market drops, right? Because this could be a short trap, right? If it's a short trap, then this just, boom, turns right back down. And we'll see the market go down while the dollar goes down, and we'll know. That means they got enough puts in there to really rip it away from people. But SPY, everything kind of saying like, hey, I might want to drop down for a little bit here. Part of me wants to do a fun play. I haven't done a fun play in a little while. What is it? 537. Minute bar. See what happens. Alrighty. Look, it's really simple. Top right, you have the chart layout, SAVEC, save as crypto chart with a blue save under it. If you click on the arrow, you can select share the copy link. Ooh. Export. Oh, that's cool. I'll get it set up. I'll make sure. I want to pay attention and see what it actually does first. But yeah, I'll look into that right away. That's cool. Flip the coin for PayPal. All right, PayPal. Heads, bullish. Tails, bearish. Ooh, tails. That's not good. Said tails. This coin's been wrong though. I need to get the other coin. I have another coin in my bag I wanted to use. I found a quarter on heads the other day and I was like, yeah, that's the one. That's the one. So just so you're aware though, PayPal, just so you're aware, I mean, if the signals are going to say anything, this thing has been beat up for a long time. It's starting to see some bullishness come in, and it also on the daily scale is showing a form of divergence here, which can lead to a big move. So we'll pay attention to it. If you can get above $60, that is the first point where you really have a call wall. So if that earnings can take you above $60, you have the chance to squeeze, right? We can squeeze. Now, I would say your squeeze can go, and weirdly enough, I truly believe that we could go test something like $69 if that is positive, but just note that we can go all the way down to like $52 if that's negative. So you pretty much have the chance for like a 5% or more up or a 5% or more down is really what I would say about PayPal. If we hit $100 donation coming. All right, Short Fridays. You know what? Here's what I'll do, Short Fridays. Because you're going to give if you give the $100 donation, I'll put a small position size into this to be in it with you. How about that, bud? I'll just do it on my fun account. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll take a crazy position. It's the fun account, so I'll take a good out position with like $500 or something like that. Teamwork. Teamwork, baby. I just wanted to do one of these. Got to keep it interesting because I don't usually trade around earnings week, right? A lot of earnings coming out. I usually try not to trade around those, so I'll just use my fun account for the most part. SPY, seeing if this can drop down one more time, that would be pretty telling. Boom, just a move like that would be great. GME trying to reverse. Ooh, that is not trying to reverse, but you are at the point where you do have this as divergence because the closing of the bar is here. So technically your divergence point, just so you're aware, the closing of the bar is here to here. Technically that is kind of a complex divergence, but it is there. So if this would turn up, that would mean a good move is coming. AMC still holding at that same level. See if that can keep holding, turn back up into positive territory. If the SPY goes down, If the SPY goes down, then technically it's puts that should be being put in. I still think there's a decent amount of puts. I would be kind of a little bit surprised if they just like shot this down. But the signals, you're trying to cross center line on the RSI. You're closing below the moving averages. So all of this is saying, hey, negativity, watch out for 537. Right? That's what it's saying to me. Now, if it wants to head lower, that would make sense. Hey, maybe it needs to go all the way down to here. Maybe we need to do something like this and then curl back up into positive territory. We see boom, and then curl back up. We see that divergence. I think that's what I'll pay attention to. Yeah, I did a call on PayPal with my fun account just to show my support for short Fridays. We can be in it together like a couple of besties. Oil is just swimming down. Ooh, that is... You don't want to be in this when the 2 hours start to cross over. Let's look at that 4 hour. 4 hour just crossed over negative territory, so 4 hour really curling down here. I gotta see what this zone's even from. Yeah, zone was from the past here. Make a 4 hour divergence, maybe. How far expiration? It's my fun account, so I'm just doing like a week out. Week out, play the earnings, get out. That's kind of what I'm gonna do for fun. Nvidia down fast. That's what, yeah, I've seen that a couple times. It did the 30-minute cross. Not yet, not yet. But you do have the price action closing below. You do have the RSI below the center line. So if this can fully confirm, then it is definitely the probability. So the probability right now is more so that you're heading down, right? So if this bar already closed. So right now the probability is, hey, cross the center line to the downside and price action below all the moving averages. So most likely heading down. But if this doesn't confirm that, then right away you're going, oh, I got to watch for this to just cross back up. So we'll see if that's able to reject or something like that. Yeah, we can look at Nike. Nike seeing a solid move. Solid move. Look at that divergence too. Nike actually giving you a solid divergence there on the 2 hour, completed right here. So we'll see some positivity from this most likely. Now what you want to see here is you've seen a few 2 hours of positivity. Has the daily turned up? Yes, it has. So now you have daily momentum with you. You have divergence behind it. You have a good shot probably to get all the way back up towards 87. That's a solid look there, like very tight on the Bollinger Band with the 2 hour divergence that just completed. Now, if you need more of a base here, what you could do is see some kind of reaction and then turn back down. So we'll look for weakness in those moves, but this right here is saying, hey, I could see a reversal in trend. You just have to make sure to manage that trade. Lily heading down. Oh no, 2 hour. All right, 2 hour. What do we got down here? We got a divergence on the RSI, kind of flat on the MACD. So you do have this as of right now. A lot of the time I do like to see a 30-minute divergence within here. So right now what I'm kind of leaning towards is just another little move down that really gives me that 30-minute divergence very clear. If it's just going to have the rejection divergences, hey, awesome. If I see this take back those moving averages, we can maybe see that 2 hour start to curl up. That 2 hour curls up, you got a good shot to see a good move. Then you have to see where would that good move get to? Most likely somewhere around 884, and then you got to see if that can hold, right? See if that goes like this. Because if you build this structure up in here, you have a good shot to break through that 892.51. Notice we lose 892.51. Ooh, very bad things. Nvidia still heading down here. I wonder if volatility has popped yet. Okay, volatility curling up on the hourly for sure there. Okay, so now volatility telling you, hey, I'm going to get some kind of pop here. At least you have about 6 minutes till that completes, but that is confirming here on your MACD. And the SPY is trying to turn down while that is happening. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't have a regular ticker that I normally look at. I used to have it on there. I think it was NG, I swear, but I'm not 100%. Give me a good ticker for natural gas. I completely changed my my tickers over here once I started to get bigger streams. IWM just looks like a 30-minute divergences there. That's true. We could just look at this too. For 30-minute divergences. This is why you really have to be paying attention to those 30-minute divergences. Look at that. Curled over here telling you downside is the most likely option, and it just goes down. 2 hour is going to cross. That's not going to be a good sign here for ExxonMobil. Can't I just look at like a futures for natural gas? Like, oh yeah. Oh no, that's MOX. Yeah, we got to look at NG then. So for natural gas, we'll look at this guy. Ooh, heading down pretty dramatically, but 30-minute, what do we want to look for? Oh, some divergences were in here. That led to a bounce. Now you're dropping down again, maybe to create a 2 hour, right? Maybe what if we need a 2 hour divergence or something like that? Because this down here, heading lower and lower and lower. We'll see if that's able to bounce at some point. But for now, the 2 hours, what I'd be paying attention to, as this is a futures trade. So this is kind of like your 30-minute. See if that's able to drop down and then curl back up. If that does, you got a good shot of turning up a 4 hour. So the 4 hour does have divergence between here, but it's starting to roll down. So I just pay attention to the 2 hour for now. If you can roll up this daily, you got a good chance for a good bounce, but that could just react, that could just react up to the 200, right? We can see this and then see that fade. So we'll pay attention in here as we're seeing some forms, right? We're seeing some things that could form that basing out very soon. Double bottom, something like that. So natural gas looks like we could be heading a little bit lower, and then we'll have to see if there's a reaction. Mainly I'm just an oil guy. I just pay attention to oil, but UNG, is that like the regular trading hours? I would prefer to look at the regular trading hours. Yeah, that's regular trading hours. So you see the 30-minute trying to form something right in here. I actually like the look of the futures better for the trade. This might be a 2 hour divergence though. You see the 2 hour. So that 2 hour crosses up. Natural gas would say, hey, momentum's starting to turn the other direction, go to the upside. Disney we can look at. Disney's been really suffering, trying to bounce up. No real reversal signals on the 2 hour though. So let's look at a 30-minute. 30-minute curling up, getting to the point where you can cup and handle. Awesome. Looks like some positive moves happening here. That's all I can say about it. As far as the daily scale goes, you have no divergence down here, just on the MACD. So you can get a solid bounce here. Let's see if you can bounce up pretty strong, right? Make sure that's not just failing at any point, but if that can bounce up strong, get a higher low, start to head up over time. I actually think IWM, just taking a peek at it, by the way, since someone asked about it, 30-minute, you do have a solid amount of divergences here. I believe it's a 2 hour, actually, you have a divergence, yeah. If we want to make it more clean, maybe we look at an hourly to see how wavy that is. You see how it's just down and down and down. That's very significant, and you're crossing over. So that's telling me IWM can experience some crazy good weakness, right? We can go negative really fast. So that just tells me, hey, I maybe need to pay attention to 214.97. So 214 to 215 is what I'd really be paying attention to for IWM, as this signal proves itself in about 20 minutes. And then I think, oh, what if that just goes like this and then turns right back up? So that's what I'm really looking for there. AMC is still holding strong. Still think we have a potential for that hourly to turn down. We'll see. because GME is seeing some big weakness here. But will it last? That's what I'm kind of wondering. Will it last? Drop a like. I'm down with that. You guys can like the channel if you found anything helpful so far today. I would really appreciate it. Bitcoin is starting to confirm a reversal signal. Watch out, because the 2 hour, those divergences, they like to roll over. Well, I would say they like to roll over 4 hours as this trades more often. But as we look at a 4 hour, we're seeing what again? We're seeing divergence here. We're seeing double top divergence here for the RSI. So a lot of this is saying, hey, if that 4 hour curls down, the daily can experience something like that. It can experience a downturn. 5 more hours of pain, 5 more hours to load more. Doug TV, like a little dog on there. That's nice. Palantir is experiencing that weakness now. So now we are seeing Palantir actually start to look like, hey, we need to pay attention to this little bar here, because it's starting to come down even more, and it hasn't even crossed over on the MACD just yet. So now you can see how that weakness can come in, just like it did for GameStop. AMC is holding up, but Meta already got out of this because everything looks like, hey, that dollar is heading higher and higher. Now the dollar is starting to come off, and we'll see if the market sells off while the dollar heads down as well. That could be a sign, actually, that we're going to see a rigged move in the other direction, right? So we could get a rigged move this morning from the dollar giving us that hint, takes us down, and then we get a reaction at the end of the day or tomorrow that takes us back up. So if we hit extremely low levels again, I'll probably be taking profit pretty quick on some of these plays. One of my plays is up 27%. It's like the dollar, you do not want the dollar to cross up on this daily, and I don't think they want that to happen either. So I think they fake you out, send the market lower while they sell at these like higher levels, and then the market pulls down and you see that dollar start to go down while the market goes down. I think that's a very likely scenario. Let's see, it is 10:11, guys. I'm sorry, but for today, I only have 20 more minutes. Just to let you be aware, I have 20 more minutes. I got to go bring my suit back by noon. Sucks. It sucks. I highly dislike renting suits. Yeah, AMD, really want to pay attention to this one. It is in a buy zone. So what I want to see is, can it hold up in that zone? Can we go down and react to something like 133, 134, and then see that base out, get that good divergence behind it? SPY still heading down. Volatility starting to pick up, so watch out for your plays. It might just mean, hey, it doesn't mean you're completely wrong, but you want to make sure to manage that risk just in case we are completely wrong and this just falls through the floor. But it doesn't mean you're wrong. Exactly, right? It just means I'm going to manage my risk and see if I'm going to be right later. Or maybe they're just doing one more rigged move. We see one more rigged move all the freaking time. Nvidia is heading down. Not even crossed over on the MACD yet either. All right, Hustler Maniac. We still may come on for a closing stream, so make sure to have those notifications on. Make sure you're subscribed and all that good stuff. Can we look at Tesla? Of course we can. Yeah, we can go look at Tesla. Tesla heading up towards that weekly expected move. Went about 50 cents to 40 cents shy of it. Started to turn back down. So this was what we've been talking about, right? We talked about this live. We made this sell zone live. We said the most likely area to come retest is this area. And look at that. We retest. Now we're backing off. So now if this 30-minute crosses, we can still experience negativity. We'll see if there's any setups down there. Isn't BITI a Bitcoin one? Oh, short Bitcoin. Okay. So if you're thinking of BITI, you still want to do your analysis on Bitcoin. So for the most part, I would say, hey, this 2 hour just crossed over. So that would be a point where I wouldn't even look at BITI's price. I would more just say, am I seeing the signal here? Okay, now I know BITI, if this does confirm that BITI might head in the other direction, right? It might head up. So that's more how I'd look at it. Making money today. Thank you, Luke. Yeah, you're welcome, William. I hope that you have a good stock that you're working with today. Really do. I'm glad it's working out for you. There's some plays that have seen these bounces, and we've gotten okay bounces, right? But are they really anything that's going to hold us up for a long time? Are they going to hold us up very well? Right now we have, 30 minutes. Look like what? Well, they look like they may want to turn down from this area, while volatility slowly starts to scale up. Volatility is confirming the move higher as of right now for volatility, which means the SPY can drop off. Now we'll just pay attention. Sorry, my eye squeaks when I rub it, if you can hear that. Yeah, so the first chart I would look at whenever doing analysis on Bitcoin, well, a lot of the time you'd look at daily, then 4 hour, then 2 hour, right? Kind of do it backwards, but this is just the signal I see. The 2 hour on Bitcoin or any futures thing is pretty much like looking at a 30-minute on a regular trading hours chart. They knock the bottom out of oil so they can all buy it because they know something's up. Yeah, oil really dropping off here into our zone. Still has a bunch of 2 hour divergences though. It still has a bunch of 2 hour divergences. We just have to get those to complete. That never completed, right? Never confirmed. Yeah, William's stealing everyone's money today. All right, we're starting to see stuff really rotate. Let's go peek over at IWM again. That 2 hour signal is starting to prove itself. You got about 14 minutes left in that bar. So if some crazy stuff starts to happen today, guys, if I start to see some rigged moves, I might hop on again. Remember, this week I'm trying to go do some closing streams a few times this week. SPY really dropping off. Just want to give you a shout out for grinding every day. Hey, thank you, Julius. I appreciate it. You guys know life's tiring right now. $309% IWM puts. Oh my goodness. MSI. Ooh, I think 15-minute is probably there. You have 15-minute divergence, but that could just react down and retest a level like 393. Yeah, 30-minute cross down, you're still within range, but you do have more probabilities of seeing a higher low here for this one. 2 hour did just cross up, giving you the swing trade. So 30-minute, you still want to manage the trade. 30-minute could be backing off soon, but there is a lot of, once you start to get up on this MACD in positive territory, hey, a higher low is likely. So I'd really start to think about that, but HYG breaking down, TLT actually going up, very interesting there, but the SPY in general, if that crosses down, not going to be a good sign. I'm letting everyone know what I'm doing. Yeah, this could be something to look at there. But mainly it's just a point like, okay, if we break through that, that's great. But we're not able to, then bad sign. Apple curling down on the MACD, just so you're aware. Tesla, rejection is there. Amazon could curl down. Nvidia, a lot of stuff looking like it's going to start to curl back down. Meta's one I'll look for in the future, though. Even AMC says I should be curling down. GME still giving it up. We'll see if that's able to pop. Is maybe GME and AMC see a moment here? What if it's going to sell off because of AMC and GME seeing the moment? I don't know. Maybe. We'll have to find out. I would think a little bit differently based on how things look. It really looks like everything still wants to bounce. Maybe they just need some stronger bases. So usually you won't see that look. You'll see more of like a crash type of behavior. But we'll see. We'll see. Qs, have they crossed over? They haven't crossed over either. Not sure you wanted Motorola. I was like, hey, you said MSI. Closing streams are fire. Yeah, we're gonna do more of those this week. So make sure you got those notifications on, guys. Alrighty, it's starting to cruise on down. We got about 10 minutes left in the stream. Amog, if it wasn't Motorola, if it was something different, just let me know. You think 95 in a few weeks, by the way, Amog, for Nvidia? I don't know about that just yet. I gotta really see how these things are gonna play out. I see the 2-hour divergence. Maybe it just needs a quick little stronger base and then it starts to head up, right? Little 30-minute divergence, then it starts to head up. That would make some sense. But for now, if this isn't gonna curl up, then you could be right. It could head down directly towards that 95 if that doesn't want to curl up. Now, if it does, though, then this might be a prolonged move, and then you might not see 95 for a long time. Oof, that is a bad look, though. Tesla, you looked so good. We're holding up. People aren't... Oh, people did take that put bait for a second. Netflix, you look interesting. AMC just dead flat. GME does have divergence, by the way. Like, I might genuinely have to look at this. You're right, Solana dumping. Yeah, a lot of the time you can just follow Bitcoin for that kind of stuff. And it doesn't mean, you know, Bitcoin and stuff, those things move very quickly. So that signal could just like reverse back around, but you kind of have to play the signal that's in front of you, and that looks like it. So I appreciate you bringing it up. It's a fun one to look at. Yeah, I wanted to see a dip, but for the most part, you would look at this and say, okay, maybe we pull out. Let's just zoom out and look at a daily scale. Look how high up that is. It does have daily divergence there on the RSI. So we actually can see this drop off. It's just, is it going to drop off right now? Well, what if this 2 hour needs to see a 2 hour triple divergence, right? What if we need to see a 2 hour triple divergence on the RSI, you know, because this was pretty flat. Maybe we want to see a boom rejection, right? What's the PayPal look? PayPal is just a daily divergence that I really like the look, right? I really like this look. It's super, super significant. It's great. The only problem is earnings can be so 50-50. I don't even see a 2 hour divergence really in here. For the most part, like you could say it's a cross, but that's kind of elongated. We could say there's a 4 hour, right? So 4 hour looks pretty good as well, but that hasn't curled up. So you don't necessarily have confirmations. I really like the look. And so I'm just gonna like do this on my fun account as like a way to play earnings, because I never play earnings. So I'm literally not suggesting you take any kind of play ever, but especially with earnings, because it's literally 50-50 flip. I've lost like $8,000 in a matter of hours doing earnings in the past, and that's why I kind of stay away from it. I'm just like, oh, they produce good numbers, but a bad thing is said, and therefore the stock goes down even with good numbers. And it's a very big mental hit. I appreciate that in your face. Thank you. Bitcoin hits support and maybe things start to change. Yeah, Bitcoin moves very quickly, but as of right now, you would say 2 hour just confirmed. So this is most likely going down, right? It's still just your signal. It's saying, hey, we're at least going to pull back. Now, where I would think we pull back to, if we're just going to see a small pullback, 66K. 66K looks pretty good. If you're going to see a more dramatic pullback, then down in these levels, 63.3K, right? And there looks pretty good. And then you would get that to turn down. That would go pretty negative, and then you'd cross up and turn back down again, right? We would go whoop, whoop, But that's kind of what I'm looking at right now for the negative side of things. How what was confirmed, Diana? Because this is confirmed on Bitcoin right now. Ethereum probably has it. Nah, actually, Ethereum doesn't really have it. Interesting. Bitcoin, yeah, it's just how is it confirmed? Well, now you see it on every indicator, right? So you have the divergence, right? You notice that. Then you see it's lost the 9 and the 20. Then you see it's curling over on the MACD, and it's curling past the center line on the RSI. So all of this is saying like, hey, you're about to experience at least a pullback. It could reverse the trend because you do have divergence, and it's a little bit closer to the center line now. I've gotten burned on PayPal earnings a lot of times. Yeah, this is my burn account pretty much. It's like this. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. My fun account rarely makes money, but every once in a while it hits it big. It is not in any way very intelligent trading going on that account. It is blatantly for me to just be like, I want to have some fun, right? I don't have time to go to the casino, so I'm gonna just do $500 to this for fun. It's my way to kind of like loosen things up when I'm trading. Just like be loose for a second, you know, just buy something that looks kind of good. Possible to turn on subtitles for the stream? I'm at work. Yeah, I'm sure we can. Let me go see if I can do that. Let me see if I can get that to work. I'll see about turning it on for the next one. I'll see if there's a little tab for me to turn on those subtitles. All right, so I'll look into that for you. Let's go peek over at GME again real quick. So that thing is, oh, that thing is not seeming very positive. It'd be such a sneaky little divergence though, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't know if it'll have an effect on them by any means. I'm just more paying attention to these signals in front of me. Momentum is always going to tell you if it's going to have an effect. Just so you're aware, momentum will always tell you if it's having an effect. So how would momentum tell us that it's having an effect if you wanted to get, you know, early to it? Well, the hourly's already curled up, but you said they talked soon. It's like, okay, well, if they said something and that was positive, and it's going to have a positive move, it's going to make this MACD cross right here and confirm that divergence fully, not just on the RSI, not just in the price side, but fully confirm, and that would lead to the big move. So I'm more so someone who's not necessarily like against fundamentals and paying attention to them. I can look for those moments and be like, is the chart showing me something? Okay, if they say something good and the price of the stock is going to see something good, then momentum is going to show me the move. That's all I'm looking at. Right there, you got the 2-hour divergence. Now Palantir curling down on a 30-minute pretty much, like it's just about to. So this could have more work to be done here. Right now, most of the probabilities would lean you towards downside, but you're still waiting. That lagging indicator is very important. Yeah, so like it's something that I've had to change about my trading a lot, Daniel. And that's just because back in the day, way back, I was a fundamental trader. I tell this story a few times, but I've said it a few times. I was a fundamental trader. I picked a stock. The stock was doing really well. I did a bunch of research on it. And then one day it just came out that all of their numbers were fraudulent and I lost all of my money. All of it. Well, all of it except for like maybe $1,000. So I think I lost, you know, when I was first starting out, I think maybe when I was 20 years old, I had like $6,000 in the stock or like 7. And I think I left with 1,000. So I don't follow fundamentals anymore because then I go back and I'll look at that stock and I'll look at and I looked at the chart And I was like, oh, it literally had a 2-hour divergence right before, and that confirmed. And then the next day they came out and said, oh, and got caught in the fraudulent behavior. GCBI has some good momentum down. Maybe I don't have the right ticker there. Anyway, but the main thing you need to know about fundamentals is anything that happens fundamentally will be proven in the momentum. It's physically impossible for a stock to go up for, say, 20 days in a row and the MACD on the daily not to be crossed. Does that make sense? Yeah, that was back when I was 20. I didn't have much money. I think I had my first sales job when I was 20. When I was like 18 to 20, I worked in a golf store. So I taught people how to, use a club and swing and things like, well, I didn't teach them how to swing. I would just swing with them. I just got really good at selling the easiest to swing clubs because I'm not like the biggest golfer. I love to golf. I got told I have a very good swing when I was a kid, but it's an expensive hobby when you're a kid. So I'm by no means an expert, but I knew if I could figure out what is the easiest driver to hit and someone said I'm having a hard time with my driver, I'd just, be like, well, what do you want to try? Okay, let's grab this, but let me just grab this because I have a good feeling. You look like you would have, I think this is good for you from what you're saying, and boom, they would hit the driver. Not to tell you, not to say like, hey, but there's a bunch of people out there with a driver that they in no way wanted. And there's a bunch of people that have it because of me, and they're hitting better because of it, just because it's easier to hit. 30-minute, a lot of divergences here. So when you see a lot of divergences, I would like to see them on the 2-hour. 2-hour just confirmed it. So right now, this one right here is a good look, William. I actually like this look. It's a very good one. Very peaky, right? Very up. And you can see that. So now we can see if that's going to get close to the center line and curl up one more time. You still have to be aware that even though you have triple divergence, it's really high up on the MACD. So that can just pull back for some time, maybe down to 42.23 and then curl back up. But I do like this look. This can rotate over a daily chart. If that daily, when you see all those divergences, it is more likely to see the daily pullback. So if the daily is going to pull back, hey, that could stop here, that could stop here, that could react all the way down to the 50 as that catches up. Right, so pay attention to those things. But yeah, I like that look from the 2-hour confirming on that bar. I want to get into, yeah, I'm kind of switching it. I'm getting into the gun range and things like that. But there's a really nice par 3 course right down the road from me. That's the one I go to all the time. It's like $12 to go play 9 holes, or actually I think it's like $17 to play 18 holes. And I just think that's fantastic. And you can do, if me and my buddy, we go there, you can do the whole course in like an hour and a half. If you're just 2 people, you're just really hitting, you can do it in like an hour and a half. If you're hitting well, you could probably finish the whole course in like an hour, which is a lot of fun. All right, guys, it's 10:32, so I do have to hop off. I'm sorry about that. I wish I could stay longer. I really, really do. But I do have to hop off as of right now. I have to go deliver my suit back before noon. But just note that I am paying attention to what's going on. If something is going to happen in the market, if we start to see some weird stuff, I will hop back on the live video. If I don't think it's too free, I don't think, a lot of people are going to struggle too much with it. I think we've covered these signals pretty well. The 30-minute here for SPY started to roll over, right? So now I'm seeing some good things from some of my trades here on my fun account. That's overall what I'm doing today, just to have some plays. It's always good to have some plays to keep things interesting, but overall, I just want you to know I'm always paying attention. If I don't come back, I think it's just because you guys can handle it, man. You guys can handle these type of things going on, 30-minute crossing down, 2-hour signals giving you the divergence, just waiting for those stronger bases. But if things start to get a little funky, I will come back. If not, hey, you guys, YouTube video every single night this week. Let's really get down to it. I think it's a pivotal point, and I love markets like this when volatility is higher. So I will be paying attention. I will be there throughout this whole week, and we'll be learning the whole way. So if you guys want to learn some of this stuff, hey, that course is down in the description. I'm still leaving those on a discount as volatility is higher. But thank you guys so much for showing up today. I will see you guys later. All right, peace.